You know what I haven't talked about in a long time? Lego, that's right, Lego. If that was your guess, I was gonna say Lego. We're on the same page. Well, I guess it's just so much of my life revolves around it. I met most of my current friends, or all of my current friends through it. I met my spouse through it. I met my job through it, if that's what you can call any of those things. I do talk about it all the time. Just here specifically, I don't mention it that often. At least it doesn't feel like I've mentioned it that often. It's constantly around me. There's probably, you'd be hard pressed to find a single video that doesn't have Lego in it, but actually talking about it, when's the last time? The Lego convention? That was like 10 days ago, I think. Maybe more, maybe, I actually don't know. How? It's safe to assume for the amount of Lego that is going on in my life, I have a few interesting things of Lego, and that is what I want to show right now. This is what I could come up with today. This is it. I didn't record anything else. I didn't record taking Emily to the airport or none of that. Emily's gone, by the way. No more clickbaiting her name. That really did well for me. I will be missing not her, just her clout to Goblify. I have a bunch of random or obscure or unique minifigures that I want to talk about. I genuinely do like talking about it anytime someone's over. Like actually Emily, for example, I will forcefully make them look at all of them as I point out and give too much detail about each one. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Going in no particular order, we have the Kids Fest 2016 tri-pack. This is not actually that rare or expensive to get in the grand scheme of things, but supposedly, and I'm sure there was other avenues to get this, you could only get it if you attended one of the Kids Fest events during 2016. I happened to attend one of the Kids Fest events in 2013. I got scammed. Someone sent this to me years later. The next one up is the 2021 and 2022 Playday minifigures. Now these particular ones they're nothing special. The printing's not special. The combination of parts might not even be that special, but they did come in the Playday kits that are passed out to employees that work for the Lego Corporation, where they have a day of play, where it's not supposed to be a day about work, but a day about play, except it takes place after work hours. Turkish Airlines is it's an airline company. They have airplanes and such. However, Turkish Airlines, during the release of the Lego Movie 2, had some Lego Movie stuff. They also had minifigures, and you probably didn't hear about these because nobody did. They're the exact same figures that released in the Lego Movie sets, Batman and Wild Style, but in exclusive packaging. Kevin McAllister, the figure from Home Alone, he's the exact same figure from the set. Well, technically no. The instructions have the scarf and I think hat on it. This Kevin McAllister, while the exact same combination of parts that you can get in a set, it was a part of a Find Kevin campaign Lego was doing where you could win money if you found him in the store or online, and you could scan a QR code, and each Lego store received 2 of these Kevins to put into display and hide somewhere. I wish I would have kept some of the actual marketing material that went along with it. I only kept the figure, which is literally worthless, but this one in particular is technically different. Barely. I believe Lego's phasing this out, but for corporate members or specific Lego employees, they would be given business cards as minifigures. While this one is unique from all the other ones, it's probably one of the less rare ones just because it's from someone that goes to a lot of Lego conventions, so they probably have a lot more and pass out a lot more than the average employee. Irrelevant either way, it's still really neat to have. Whenever a Lego store opens up, there's almost always certainly an item or an exclusive release that they do with that store. It's most often very limited to a few hundred, give or take corporate employees that get some more. That's a whole nother conversation for another time. But in this particular era, they did minifigures that looked the same for most stores, but had different printing on the back. This isn't the dumbest purchase I've ever made, but it's definitely up there for one of the dumber purchases I've made. The Lego Rebrick figures were figures made for, I believe, a website called Rebrick. I think it was some sort of competition. I do know there's pictures out there giving general quantities of how many are out there. I don't know how accurate that is. I'm not quite sure. I do believe they're supposed to be relatively rare figures, and it just so happens this one misspells competition on it. Not that I could ever tell you that. That's just what the internet says, that it's misspelled, and I'm gonna take the internet's word for it. Lego as a company was around for quite a while before they started introducing the plastic brick system that we all obsess over and pay way too much money for today. And before that, the minifigure had some prehistoric versions, let's say, and a lot of them are very well known. Some of which that are a little less known are the first Lego compatible figures, and it's these HO scale, which is a train scale policemen. They are compatible with Lego. They have about a half stud connection point, and there was 4 different ones. And I have these 2, one that's dabbing and one that's just pointing. I would have been happy with any of them. I don't know if I'll ever get more in the future, but these ones in particular, I'm fine with. Last thing I'm showing you here today is the same or in the similar vein as the Cleveland, Ohio figures that I showed you. However, unlike the Cleveland, Ohio figures or any of the other store opening figures, which can go for a few $100s, which is an absurd amount for 1 to 3 figures, these ones are by far the most expensive store opening minifigures that I personally know of. I know of a lot of them. To celebrate the 1,000th store opening, which was completely random, by the way. I mean, maybe someone might have known, but they didn't announce that it was going to be the 1,000th store. It just happened to be the store, and it just happened to be a store that happened to be in Texas, where I happened to have a number of friends, Ross, Josh, and Emily, that were all going. And Ross and Emily, kinda... I mean, I wouldn't blame them for keeping it after finding out. These figures, I saved these for last just because they're not the most interesting or unique or special out of all the ones that I'm showing. They're just worth a lot of money. Like $1,000 for 2 figures. Money. That is a very generous thing to give. I know they offered it when they first got them, when they were only like $300. And like, wow, that's a lot of money. Thank you, Ross and Emily, for giving us that. You really didn't need that. Now they're worth so much money. And you know, if you guys ever wanted it back, I would not blame you. I don't want to give it back. You can have one, the girl one. I want the boy one.